Okay, so today, I I lost for whatever reason the audio didn't work for day 14, day 15. So this is going to be day 14, day 15 of my video. So when I went to go listen to the videos, for some reason the audio wasn't recorded. So I already purchased for day 14 and day 15. It's just again, it wasn't able to pick up the audio. So I'm just gonna today we're just gonna have a rundown. So again, so for day 14 and day 15, I did buy the $333 each day of Bitcoin. And again, we're just gonna go over what's going on right now. And again, as probably most of you know, Bitcoin is at record highs again. And again, I wish I would have. Well, I can't say I wish I would have, but like I was fully invested in Bitcoin. I put it into DAI. Now I'm, doing daily dollar cost averaging. This is where it kind of sucks. When you see it go up and keep going up, you wish you would have stayed in. But again, I want to stay the course because next month may be a different narrative. We might be talking about how it's going down, and then you'll be happy you did the daily dollar cost averaging. But this is where it gets tempting to go all in or whatever. But don't go. My experiences, again, this isn't financial advice. It Don't go all in a rising market, because that's where the old story of, you're supposed to buy low, sell high, and people do the exact opposite. They buy high and sell low because they get euphoria, sets in. So, anyways, everybody is talking about, um, the uh, how Bitcoin is right now. Um, as far as exploding, right? Coinbase is next coin, new altcoin coming soon. Again, like Michael Saylor, like huge advocate of Bitcoin. You could say he was the guy responsible for, the migration of corporations getting into it. And I don't know if this was on day 14, but I was talking about that one person. I'll see if I can find him. He made an excellent point. Can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but wish I could find him. But anyways, he made an excellent point. And for those of you that are familiar with Wall Street sort of history, what Wall Street has been doing over the past however many years, that these guys on Wall Street, they are constantly cooking up um you know ways to make money fast. And if you're not really sure about like what the whole share buyback thing was, it works like this. Before, like, let's say for instance, the way a company would work is, let's say you made shoes, you made cars, you made computers, whatever you made, it doesn't matter. It's the same principle. That the way it would work is, let's say the company made $1 billion a year profit. Well, most of the time they would take a portion of that $1 billion and they reinvest it into the company so they can expand the company so the company can become even more profitable. You update equipment, you build new plants, you invest money into training your employees so they become more efficient, more innovative, so on and so forth. That's traditional way of doing it. Well, corporations got very stagnant, and what they were doing was they're doing share buybacks, because usually, or what companies will do too, is they'll borrow money from the market, like in the form of bonds, and they take that money to buy plant, property, and equipment to expand the business. But what they were doing was they're borrowing money and then going out and buying their own shares. Okay, so the the reason why they do that is because all the executives will have stock options. So if you start buying your own shares, you're going to pump up the price by virtue of supply and demand. If you're spending billions of dollars on a share and the share is $5, it'll go up to 15, 20, $30, whatever the case may be, right? And then other people see the stock price go up, they jump in, and it goes up even more. So they found that why invest in a company when we can just buy our own shares back? We can manipulate the shares. We get these insanely high bonuses, yada yada yada. Well, anyways, what this one person was saying, I'll try to find his name in another video. I'm sure I'll come across him sooner or later. I don't have him in front of me right now. But he made an excellent point. He said essentially this is what Bitcoin's being used for right now, because I think Washington's going to crack down on share buybacks, because it's not improving the economy. It's improving the bank accounts for very few, like a handful of executives. And it's actually at the detriment of the country, because the country is not expanding from a industrial point of view. It's actually contracting, and it's all artificial. But what the scary part about Bitcoin is he's saying this is essentially the same thing, and that's why that GameStop and all them and Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, they're essentially doing the same thing, but with Bitcoin. And the way he explained it was this: he was saying that he was showing that GameStop, that company was constantly, I don't know if they're out and out losing money, but their earnings were depreciating continuously every year. Like they're like, I don't know if they're in the red, but their profits were diminishing every single year. And I guess they, found out what MicroStrategy was doing, so on and so forth. And they said, hey, if we issue bonds and buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin goes up in value, that's going to show up as a positive on our balance sheet, right? That'll raise the stock prices, because they knew they can't increase profitability from the business that they run, because I guess it's a very difficult business, so on and so forth. But just by virtue of investing in Bitcoin alone, it'll increase the capital structure of the company, like how much it's worth, right? So investors will buy the company as a Bitcoin play, and that's why it went through the roof. And he was saying that they try to make, like he's saying, corporations are trying to make it look like, oh yeah, we're getting into Bitcoin because we're afraid the U.S. dollar is going to deflate in value. And he's saying no, it's to artificially pump up their stock price, because it's a Bitcoin play. And again, is this true? It would appear so. And he's saying, he goes, if you think it's a lot now, he goes, this is what I think is, and again, I like being open-minded. I don't want to say, be this huge Bitcoin advocate and don't want to listen to somebody else's point of view. Or I don't want to be negative Bitcoin and don't listen to, somebody's point of view that's very positive, or so on and so forth. I want to listen to everybody's opinion. And that's how you become an objective person. And that's how you become a good investor, is that you have to be reasonable. And what this guy was saying it totally made sense. He said, he goes, but that's not to say Bitcoin's not going to be worth anything like at some point. He goes, it'll be worth probably $1 million or maybe even more by virtue of this. But he goes, I think eventually it'll go down to zero. And it totally makes sense, because once Washington and all them get, like, if they start passing laws and stuff, then it's hard. You can be as much of a maverick as you want, and sky's the limit, capitalism, whatever. But if once, the feds get involved in things, and if they start passing legislation that something's illegal, they have all kinds of tools at their disposal. But anyways, what he said was, you can ride this Bitcoin. He goes, you can make a lot of money off it. He goes, but you have to understand that it's not going to last forever. And he said, this is kind of the exciting part. He's like, this is just the beginning. He goes, that GameStop, he goes, there's going to be all kinds of guys doing this now, because it's the same thing with that mortgage-backed securities thing. Once one firm on Wall Street started doing, all those mortgage-backed securities, they send all those different tranches within the mortgage-backed securities and selling them out onto the market and so on and so forth. And then they had like insurance companies underwriting them to guarantee them and all this. Like, once the scam was set and other firms saw them doing it, they had to do it. You had to, like most of these, even let's just say, even if you did have ethics, it came down to your job. Like, if you were the head of like strategy at one of those Wall Street companies and everybody else is making money hand over fist, and your CEO is looking at you, why aren't you doing this? Well, I think it's highly unethical. You're going to get fired. It's as simple as that. It's sad, but it's true. And it's the same thing with this. Like if you're the CFO of a company, right? And especially right now with all the lockdowns and stuff, companies are very desperate to turn a profit. And if the only way for you to turn a profit is to put your cash reserves into Bitcoin and you're not doing it, you're going to get fired. So the stampede hasn't started yet. Like, so right now, a lot of these guys, they haven't really wrapped their head around what GameStop did. Like a lot of these CFOs and whatnot, they're fairly traditional, right? But once they start to understand, because all it's going to take is Michael Saylor's already had these conferences. It's just going to take, you got to understand, a lot of these people that are executives, they are sheep. Like they're not that smart. They just do, like if they go to a conference and the person has this great conference and everybody else, the consensus is, oh, that guy's a brilliant guy, I'm going to do it. They do exactly what they're told. And if they're being told by people who they consider, gurus or consider, in the know as far as finance is concerned, and they're telling them the only way your company's going to succeed is if you buy Bitcoin, they're going to do it. And like I said, the beauty is this thing has just started. Like this is like getting into the whole mortgage-backed security thing at the ground level. Right. And I'm not even like, I'm not trying to advocate it. Like, again, this isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this. You can do whatever you want, but this looks like they're setting the stage for this, is that you might be able to make, a huge amount of money in a short period of time, but just know what you're getting yourself into. And if you see it, if you put in 10 grand, you got $1 million, get out. You can't, don't be sticking around forever. But anyways, so this is going to be day 14, day 15, because the audio didn't work for some reason. But, and like I said, I did buy my $333 each day of Bitcoin. So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.